Amen.
So next we're gonna sing, Lift Every Voice and Sing. So we have copies. Yes, ma'am. And this was, Mr. Mitchell, why was this, Lift Every, how did this come about?
This was James Weldon Johnson, who came up with the words for Lift Every Voice and Sing. And this was during the Harlem Renaissance, 1920s to about the 1940s. During when blacks started displaying their culture. See, blacks were afraid to display their culture. Blacks were ashamed of being black until the Harlem Renaissance came about. But when the Harlem Renaissance came about, blacks said, kill me if you want to. You know, it doesn't matter, do what you want to do to me, but I'm gonna still express myself. And so that's when blacks started expressing themselves during the Harlem Renaissance, 1920s to about the 1940s. I know I can't explain it all in the length of time we have, but after you leave here today, you know, at some point, look up the Harlem Renaissance. And that black said, okay, I don't care what you do to me. But they were afraid and they were ashamed. And so that's when he decided to write Black National Anthem.
And I think with all that's going on now, it's gonna be up to us to continue to educate our children. We know that the schools weren't educating them, they were leaving bits and pieces all out anyway.
Right.
So now it's more important than ever to us to continue to educate our own and to do a better job than the schools were doing anyway. Because it's about unity. If we stand together, we're gonna be strong.
Right.
So now we will sing. Lift every voice and sing. Everybody has copies. Please stand for our.
If we're doing more than one verse, I need
We're gonna just do the first verse.
just the first verse.
Yeah. Maybe we could do the first verse twice. I don't know the second verse at all. I mean, I know we got the words. Huh?
Singing the same.
Okay, so what we gonna
We're
do?
doing the first and the, just the two that's on here, that's the first and the third.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right, y'all ready?
Yeah.
Lift
Every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high pray. Let's bow our feet straight from the places, our God, where we met thee. Let's our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, we forget thee. Shadow beneath thy hands, may we forever stand true to our God, true to our native land.
Yay.
Amen. Alright. So, how many of y'all saw the Super Bowl? Alright. So, what did y'all think about the Super Bowl? Wait, halftime. We only talking about halftime. Was it good? Was it educational? Was it boring? You had no clue. Okay. But I explained it to you, right? Alright. What did you think about the halftime? It was educational? So let's talk about it. What was educational?
We said the revolution was about to be accepted.
And that was out the gate, right? Alright. Who else? What did you think about halftime?
Okay, actually, I stopped to eat during halftime, but after reading so much, I would say with education. Also, I'm glad he was not afraid to do what he did. You know, I admire him. I didn't even really know Kendrick Lamar. So many people do that. Now I do, and I have a whole lot of respect for him.
What about you, Amy?
What I noticed about the Super Bowl in general is that there was more attention around halftime than the game itself. Correct. I really didn't hear anyone really talk about the football game, who won that much. But everywhere people talking about the halftime show. It was just, it shows how culture, really, how powerful culture is these days. We have something that people work their lives to establish. And at the end of the day, people follow the wave of culture, you know? Like, if you won, you won, but people don't talk about that.
Right. And I saw so many people, said it was boring and we should have had New Orleans and this or that. And I'm like, y'all missed it. This was a chess move. And y'all talking about checkers. He used this platform to talk about his agenda. And his agenda was unity. And if you paid attention to, it was so strategic, from the controller to the outskirts of it was the gun line in the prison. And he was, when they say, hey, you got the cheat code. The cheat code is us staying together.
Yeah.
So that is how there have been many successful Black communities. But when we do get success, what happens? They burn it down.
They come in and destroy it.
They destroy it. But we have to realize that we are so powerful. We didn't start with slavery. We didn't start with slavery. Before pre-colonial Africa, we were kings and queens, and there were riches. They brought us here because we had the knowledge of building America. So who taught them knowledge? Who taught them all this stuff? And even once they hid us, right? They stripped us of our language. They stripped us of anything that was familiar. But we still came together and found a way, even when they made this land foreign for us. So I'm challenging to be intentional, because we're in a time where we have to be intentional. And there were many people, we know that music has been a way for us to communicate from Negro spirituals, right? So, before hip hop, before R&B, before jazz, before the blues, there were the Negro spirituals, songs of faith, resistance, and survival. The enslaved Africans, they were stripped of their language, their culture, but they found a way to speak through music. And this music, it was codes also.
Yeah.
And so those songs like Wading in the Water, Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, they weren't just about hope. These songs were coded messages. And they were guiding people to freedom. Through the Underground Railroad, they used these things. So as time went on, that music evolved, but the purpose remained the same. And during the Civil Rights Movement, We Shall Overcome became the song that united us. Songs like A Change Is Gonna Come. All these songs were fighting for justice. But the struggle didn't end then. James Brown said what?
Say it loud.
I'm black and I'm proud, okay? So that song just makes you feel good. It makes you feel empowered. It makes you feel encouraged. But as it kept evolving, Marvin Gaye said, what's going on? What's going on? He was looking around the world, looking around the country. What is really going on? Hey, but it ain't stopped there. Some of y'all know who Public Enemy is.
Yeah.
It's fighting power. Fighting power.
Yeah.
So it kept evolving. Tupac made a song about change. Let's fast forward to that Kendrick Lamar. He's one of the most prolific minds of his time. He's not just, this dude won a Pulitzer Prize as a rapper. He's really not, I would say he's more of a poet. And like Mr. Mitchell, I can't say that I listened to Kendrick Lamar, but every song that I've ever heard had a message. So, Gabby, I was watching halftime, and what you did?
I came in the back of the house, the front of the house, because I thought somebody was attacking her. I'm like, are you okay? And she was like, I don't watch football or halftime, so I don't know what she was doing about it.
I was just peeping all of his messages. I was like, what?
Yeah.
That was deep. And then getting on social media and my friends, my circle, oh, it was boring, they should have had Wayne. And I was like, if you know, you know. If you don't, you don't.
Yeah.
And either we're gonna be a part of the problem or we're gonna be a part of the solution.
Yeah.
And I can always say there's more for me to learn. I don't know everything. And we have to each one teach one. And it's time for us to come together as a community more. So the question is, how are we gonna use these things today? What can we do? Taking those lessons from those songs and the things that our ancestors did, what can we do today?
So I was like you. I'm not. I know of Kendrick Lamar, but I don't listen to his music. And I think it's important for my generation. That sounds so weird saying my generation to be open to listening to his generation, because he's not in my generation. You know, because this is who is feeding our children, and we don't have to accept everything. But when I saw the halftime show, some of the songs, I only knew the most popular, and only the hook, right?
They like us. They not like us.
But all the symbolism is what I took notice to. Like, it looks like poetry. You might understand everything he was saying. It looks like poetry. So I'm like, let me go look up the lyrics, right? And so my kids are like, Ma, you didn't know? No, I didn't know. And I felt a little ashamed of that, truthfully, you know, because I don't ever want someone else's voice to be louder to my kids than my voice. But if I don't invest in the things that they are interested in, or even the things that are around them, then I won't know. So I think having sessions, you know, these strategic think tanks, and getting the children's input and really listening to what they have to say, asking them how they felt about it and what they might be able to do, you know, on a day-to-day basis to affect change is a start.
Right. And being open-minded, right? The first time I heard Kendrick Lamar was at Essence, and he was closing it out. And I'm to the age where it was loud. I was like, this is too loud. I didn't even stay in because it was too loud for me. It was overstimulating. But I stepped out in the hallway and I could hear it. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm a therapist. So I often use music to relate to the kids. So I can hear what they're listening to. I'm like, hey, what's on your playlist? And I use that to connect to them.
Yeah, and you bring up a strong point, both of you guys do, is because music is powerful, right? And as Christians, followers of Christ, we can often be put in a space to where we're seen as less Christian or hypocritical if you're listening to a song that's actually relevant today and what's going on today. Like, I think as a parent, it's kind of, you something's not right if you don't know what's the purpose behind G music, right? Or if you don't know who certain artists are. If there's artists that are making music that is provoking violence in your community, and you don't know who that artist is, right? Like, why wouldn't you want to know that? That's the same as if it's a guy in your neighborhood who has a gun, and he's running around killing people, or running around giving guns to kids. You don't want to know who the guy is.
Right.
So if there's a guy running around telling people to get guns and to kill kids, you don't want to know who that is. And just because of the judgment that may come upon you as a Christian, you don't want to actively pursue that. So I had to figure out that, like, as I would go to schools and speak in different spaces, I had to, just really, do some soul searching about it because, like I said, music runs the world. I'm telling you, we can't get around it. As church folks, we know that. We have worship music. Worship don't start till that music starts. It's awkward half the time if you don't play that music to start worship.
Right.
Praising, 5 people in the dance. The preacher can preach the same message, but people won't stand up and start clapping until the organ comes on.
Usher it in.
That happens. You have wedding songs, right? You have music that plays so low if you're in the bank and you're in the elevator, it plays so low because it wants to keep the temperament low. Then when you go in the hip hop store, you go in there to buy a pair of shoes, all of a sudden you want the shoes, you want the shirt, you want the outfit, because they playing songs that make you want to buy stuff.
Right.
This is the way of the world. So for us to be so Christian that we're detached from music is something that we have to, I think it's a burden you have to take on if you serve in that space, to where in that, when I say burden, meaning you're going to have to deal with that judgment of certain people saying whatever. But it's almost like, so one of those spaces I was saying, I had to learn that for educational reasons, I had to make sure I did tap into certain stuff. Because if I went into the space, I wasn't speaking the language of the youth.
Right.
Because that language ain't come from nobody standing in front of the podcast. In front of the room. Their language came from the same way our choir directors and stuff get their driven. They're driven through, many of them are inspired through the music of today.
Right.
And that changes things. Like you were talking about, like how, Al Green and all these people, the particular music, it's the same thing with gospel. Mahalia Jackson is traditional now, or it's like super, less traditional. But back then, people didn't want to listen to her.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They said she moaned too much. But now, that's the staple of gospel, right? That's when gospel stuff was founded. And so as a Christian artist, a Christian rapper, I had to go through the scrutiny of rapping in places that some people saying that you doing too much, I don't like that, you know, talking about me in church for something that's just moving with the time, you know? So, I mean, it's a big deal that we miss, and like those messages, I think it's an issue that when the rapper during the Super Bowl decided to use a platform for consciousness to make people think, people said, stop and make me dance.
Right. Entertaining. That's the message I saw all through my timeline. This was not entertaining. And I'm like, okay, black people, we've been entertained enough. Like, this is all they want from us is for us to entertain them.
Yeah.
Okay, now, we have to be intentional now. Any other remarks about the Super Bowl?
I just wanted to put this small plug in regards to music. One thing about it, and it's the influence thereof, it is total recall. Once you hear a beat, you can recall something in regards to that song if you catch the hook or whatever. And thinking it from the perspective of your mental and your thought process, right? So if you hear a song, or you're just your thoughts and your imagination is caught up in the song and you're singing it and you're humming it, and it gets connected to what your behavior will be, right? So you're gonna be bouncing, you're gonna be dancing, you're gonna worship. It connects you. So that's a strong significance when it comes to music and the total recall of it. It could be Al Green or it could be Kendrick Lamar, and you can be 20 or 80, and you know the two of them, you can recall that song at any stage in your life, and how did it feed you, right? So that's another thing in regards to how does it feed your mind, right? Does it become an action in your behaviors sometimes? That's all I wanted to share.
All right, Dr. K. But definitely, we want to listen to what our kids are listening to. And a lot of times we want to tell them not to do something, but if we're taking something away from them, we got to replace it with something. So it can't always be no, 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 no. Okay, so if they're listening to this music that you don't want them to listen to, all right, listen to it. And then say, hey, so what do you like about this music? Maybe y'all can compromise and you can introduce them to something that they would like, and it will be more educational, more beneficial, more family oriented. But we shall move along, Mr. Braylon.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Today I will be talking about the civil rights movement, the legacy for every generation. The civil rights movement was a time when Black Americans stood up for justice, fairness, and respect. People like Rosa Parks, Malcolm X, and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. are famous for their leadership. But the movement was powered by everyday people, mothers, fathers, students, and even children who refused to accept unfair treatment. Big victories like the Brown versus Board of Education case that ended school segregation and the Voting Rights Act of 1965 happened because people came together to demand change. But civil rights is not just history. It's still happening today. Issues like unfair voting laws, racism, and unequal opportunities show us that we still have work to do. As a young person, I know that the sacrifices of those before me gave me opportunities, like getting an education, speaking my mind, and voting when I turned 18. But I also see unfairness that affects my friends and family. Some schools don't have the same resources, and some communities struggle more than others. The fight for equality isn't over. That's why young people must get involved now. We don't have to wait until we're adults to make a difference. We can use our voices to stand up for what's right, learn about issues that affect us, and use social media to inspire others. Not just for fun, but for change. The civil rights movement teaches us that change happens when people of all ages come together and work together. Adults bring wisdom and experience, while young people bring new ideas and energy. We honor Black history by staying informed, speaking up, and taking action, whether it's voting, helping in our communities, or supporting causes that matter. To my fellow youth, dream big and stand up for what's right. To adults, teach, guide, and support the next generation. Black history is not just about the past. It's about the future. And we all have a role in making sure the dreams of our ancestors continue to grow.
So today we have 3 people who will be speaking. We have our very own Kenneth Mitchell, who is a wealth of information, teaches history, is very passionate about people. He is the founder of Voices of Praise. He does so many things. I'm gonna let him tell you about all that. We have Reverend Reginald Pitcher. He is a civil rights activist, an instructor, a plethora of things. I will let him tell you about that. And we have Minister Michael A.D. Mitchell. He is a Christian rapper, a motivational speaker, an author, a kingdom kid. Alright, so we'll go Mr. Mitchell, and after Mr. Mitchell, we'll play a little game, and then we'll get our speakers, okay? Our 2 speakers. Does anybody did everybody take the pre-test? Okay. You have some more copies?
Yes.
Oh, Lord, you asked a question.
Trying to remember what show I saw.
Everybody else in the base, like we said, so, those of you who turn them in, are ready to keep them, so, you can make your own corrections. Get this, Ms. Brooks, from me. Lacy, this is yours. Somebody turn this in, I don't have a name. I think it's yours. This is yours, Braylon. Somebody else turn. I sort of put this together, to sort of guide what I was going to be saying today. There's so much to be said, and we definitely can't do it in the few minutes that we do have. Is there anybody who can't hear me?
We can hear you. Yes.
All right, so what we're gonna do is, I want you to kind of take this first and then see what you know and what you don't know. And don't let this stop here. After you leave, you take these home with you and you go over it and something that you want to research more, everything is on Google basically. For the most part, you can go to Google, go to some source and look it up. All right, I started off, Rosa Parks, this is true or false. Rosa Parks was sitting in the front seat of the bus when she was asked to get up so the white man could sit down. I'd like for one person to raise your hand and answer this for me. All right? It's true? Okay, J.C. Young said it's true. Is everybody agree with J.C. Young?
Yes.
Is there anybody who does not agree with J.C. Young? Two people that, okay. Who else? Oh, Reverend Pitch. 3 people. All right, Sister Matt, you want to tell?
I just said it's false.
It was false.
Yeah.
What's the right answer?
It's false. You know why it was false?
But the bus had filled up and they asked for a seat, all those who were sitting in the back.
Where was she sitting?
In the back?
She was already sitting in the colored section.
Yep.
Whites in the front, colored behind us on certain lines. Okay, she was sitting where the cards are on, she was supposed to sit. But the law stated, if the bus is crowded and there are whites who do not have a seat, colored folk, you have to get up and give these white people your seat. Everybody got that?
Yeah.
Okay, so she did not get on that bus to start any boycott, any problem. She said, I don't feel like getting up, I'm tired, why y'all treat us like this anymore? So hopefully somebody learned something out of that today. Most people, even in some of the movies, you'll see where they say she was sitting in the front. That is not true. Okay. Number 2, the 2 white men who murdered Emmett Till, a 14-year-old black boy from Chicago, for saying bye baby to a white lady in Mississippi, were found guilty. Is there anyone who doesn't know anything about Emmett Till? Have you heard of Emmett Till? Anybody had heard of Emmett Till? And y'all look it up and see what that young man's face was like when he finished with him. He was from Chicago. And he had gone to Money, Mississippi to spend the summer with his uncle Mose Wright, pick cotton so he could make some summer money and go back. Well, Chicago and Mississippi, Chicago, Illinois, and Money, Mississippi, that's 2 different worlds. In Chicago, whites and blacks kind of, got together. He had a white girlfriend, he said, in Chicago. And he thought it was the same way down here in Mississippi. So 2 boys held up, and dude from Mississippi said, boy, you don't have no white girlfriend. Because whites don't like those blacks. And he said, he said, okay, it's got a white lady in that store, which won't say anything to her. He went in the store, took it there. He bought his candy, said, bye, baby. And that lady told her husband and her husband's brother. And that night they went to the house where he was staying for the summer, his Uncle Mose Wright. And they asked him, do you have a boy from Chicago who did all of that smart talk? And he said, yes. So Mr. Mose Wright, you can look this up. You can find the video on YouTube or some of those places. And he was an elderly man. He couldn't stop because they had a flashlight and a gun. So they took him. Never to show up live again. Okay, they took him, and when he told them that he had a white girlfriend in Chicago, they said, that's what we got to fight against. Boy, you'd never live to see the sun rise again. And he did. They did him, I wish I would have, of course, I wasn't sure about our time, to show the picture. The mother requested that they have an open casket funeral so the world could see what they did to my boy.
It's showing on Tubi or Peacock right now. It's called Teal, that movie. So it's showing on that show is showing now.
Thank you. Yeah, and as I talk, Graduates, I have so many, DVDs on all of this stuff. You know, if y'all want to borrow them, just make sure you get it back to me. You would be amazed. All right, the 13th Amendment of 1865 freed the slaves. True? Okay. If you disagree, let us know.
Oh, I said, what number we on?
Well, that was number 3.
Like, so number 2. It's
I'm just
I didn't give the answer for number 2.
Number 2, were they found guilty or not guilty? Not guilty. It took them 1 hour, all white men on the jury, to find them not guilty. And they were guilty of sin. If you watch it, it'll show you where these men were sitting in court, had their little babies in their laps and everything, and then they went to kissing their wives like they were just getting married. Yeah. Rejoicing, knowing that they had killed that young man. Number 3. So number 1 is false, number 2 is false. Number 3 is true. Number 4, the 14th Amendment, 1868, gave black men the right to vote. That's false. What did the 14th Amendment do? It made blacks citizens. It made black citizens. Okay?
So we know the next one false.
That's false. Number 5, the 15th Amendment of 1870 made blacks citizens of the U.S.
False.
False. False. Yeah. The 15th Amendment gave black men the right to vote. Well, and of course that's a federal law. Keep in mind the difference between federal and state. Just like we see going on now, states trying to go against what the federal say. Federal going to give what the states say. Clarence Thomas, one of the 2 black Supreme Court justices today, is very supportive of equal rights for blacks. False. Excuse me, but he is one of the biggest Uncle Toms that exists. That man there, don't get me started. It's great. And he is a Trump fanatic. Yeah. 6 is false. 7. After blacks were given the right to vote by an amendment to the Constitution, I didn't put that in because it was one of the questions. Which is the what amendment?
Right to vote.
Right to vote. Which one?
15.
15. Okay.
The 14 made it
15.
All right.
Some of the states still kept them from voting by using the poll tax, the literacy test, and the grandfather clause.
True.
That's true. See, the federal government said, okay, they have the right to vote, but it's left to the states to determine what it takes to register to vote. Well, the federal government might have known what they were doing. They might have done it, to make themselves look good, but they knew that these other states weren't going to do right. So they came up with what was called, okay, in order for you to register now, you got to take this test. Literacy test. Some of the literacy test was a paragraph that they had to fill in the blanks, and it went something like this. The blank, 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 a blank, 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 blank. Blank is with blank, 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 and told blank.
Right.
You have no idea what that's all about. Some of the literacy tests were written in Hebrew. Blacks couldn't read English because they had just gotten out of slavery pretty much. And during slavery, it was against the law to what? Teach you black to read. Okay? They had to look at, some of y'all saw Selma where they had the jar. That was the literacy test. You had to guess how many marbles were in that jar. Really? Poll tax, that's what? That's when you have to pay. Blacks have to decide between paying the vote or getting local bread. So what'd you think they did?
Eat.
They got a loaf of bread. All right, then the grandfather clause. Grandfather clause said, okay, we keep too many whites from voting with this poll tax and this. So if you can't pass the pass the literacy test, and you can't pay the poll tax, you can still vote if your father or grandfather was eligible to vote before the election of 1817. When were black men given the right to vote? Go back to number 5.
1870.
They were given the right to vote in 1870, right?
Mhm.
So were their fathers or grandfathers eligible to vote before then?
No.
No. But the whites' fathers, most of them were eligible to vote before then. Y'all got it? There are a lot of grandfather clauses today. The leak test, that's a grandfather clause. Leak tests are designed to fail black people.
All right, yeah.
And when they fail, then they estimate those scores to build these jails.
Right.
That's school to prison pipeline.
Yeah.
Right. And I've seen the literature, the leak test, you know, because I've been minister. And I wasn't supposed to look at it, but I did. And a lot of those questions gave me some, I had to think and think the way they were designed. Most of those type tests are written on white middle class standards. We did a study when I was teaching at the Stroke. And we came, I was on that committee, and we brought out that most of those standardized tests are written based on white middle class standards.
Even with our tests for our profession, those tests are not written by us. They're not written for us.
Right.
So if they're not written by us or for us,
Yeah.
it's designed to keep us out of it.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So I always tell people that I'm mentoring, you can't think like us, you gotta think like America,
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
Susie,
You're right.
not us, not what you would do.
you're right. The practices and the national teacher exam was called, and I was saying, yeah, they are designed for us to fail.
But DEI, we know that we have to operate 10 times more than our counterparts.
Right.
So if I went to LSU, I graduated from LSU, I had to have a certain GRE, a certain ACT to get in. They didn't give me a different test. So DEI just allowed me the opportunity, but I had to do the work.
Right.
So how can they say that the people who are in these positions are not qualified? We are more than qualified.
Absolutely.
That's right. That's right. We have to be 10 times better than we are.
Yeah.
10 times better, sometimes 20 times better.
Yeah.
That's why they came up with the grade point average for athletes, because too many, the teams were ended up all black.
Mhm.
And these white parents said, my child won't have a chance. So we know they don't like to read, so let's come up with a grade point average. Of course, that's no excuse for us to not learn to read.
Yeah.
I just wanted to throw that out. All right, we'll move on, for the ones that are coming down. After, okay, number 8, the Emancipation Proclamation was designed to free slaves. True or false? False. Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation in September of 1862, stating all states that stopped fighting against the Union by January 1st, 1863, you can keep your slaves.
Mm.
if you stop fighting by January 1st, 1863, you can keep your slaves. But if you're still fighting against the Union by January 1st, your slaves are free.
So it was designed to stop the war.
Right, exactly.
Okay, I didn't know that.
It was designed to stop the fighting,
Okay,
not to free the slaves.
okay.
So if they are all stop fighting, we might still be slaves today. And guess what? Talking about your slaves are free. Lincoln was talking to people who were no longer part of the Union anyway, because those better states that got out of the Union, they had their own president, Jefferson Davis, from Mississippi. Okay, but he was hoping that would do, but it didn't do. It wouldn't, I don't think, and he definitely wasn't trying to save the Union. He definitely wasn't trying to free the slaves. He was trying to save the Union. Lincoln had said when he was running for Congress that if I could save the Union and not free any slave, that I would do. If I had to save the Union by freeing half, keep the other slaves, that I would do. If I could save the Union by having to free all the slaves, that I would do. My paramount objective, paramount means top objective, is to what?
Keep the Union.
Save the Union. And this part, and not free the slaves. So Lincoln wasn't so much, which I didn't talk.
That's why we gotta educate our own people.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, I didn't know that.
Thurgood Marshall was the first black Supreme Court justice. True. But he was real. Total opposite from Clarence Thomas. Who's our other black Supreme Court justice?
Ketanji Brown Jackson.
Ketanji Brown, yes. And she's a Thurgood Marshall. She's definitely not Clarence Thomas. The March on Washington in August 1963 was held to encourage Congress and President John F. Kennedy to pass the Civil Rights Bill. True. That's true. That's number 10. Okay, they wanted to, I think it was over what, 240,000 people that attended. Over 240,000 people attended, blacks and whites. About 200,000 were blacks and about 40,000 were whites. But this was, what else happened? What major thing happened at this? What major, can't think of the word I want to use. But what else came out of this meeting? That was when Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. did what?
Oh, I have it in there.
Gave his famous I Have a Dream speech. All right. 11, freedom, so number 10 is true. 11, Freedom Summer, 1964 was a campaign launched by American civil rights activists to register as many African American voters as possible in the state of Mississippi. True? That's true. Why? Because in 1962, only 5.3% of African Americans in Mississippi registered to vote. True. So if they had 100 blacks that year, I'm just using that number, in Mississippi in 1962, how many of them could vote, were registered? 5.3%, so that'd be what? Come on, you mathematicians. 5.3% of 100, we just using the 100 as a number. 5% of 100 is what? That's 20, isn't it? 20. Okay, so that's why they launched Freedom Summer. That was when whites and blacks from the North, students, went to Mississippi to try to teach blacks how to read and how to teach them how to learn to register to vote. And during that Freedom Summer, several people killed, but 3 civil rights workers, 2 whites, 1 black. They were riding in the car together. Oh, you look at it, Mississippi. And they killed those 3 people. They murdered them. They killed the black guy last so he could see the torture the other 2 went through. You know, so mentally he was just gone with it. Yeah. All right. The Voting Rights Act, number 13, of 1965 was passed specifically to outlaw literacy tests as used by southern states to keep blacks from voting, although Amendment 15 gave them the right to vote. That's true. Normally, when you take a true and false question test, and if the question is long, it's probably true. Because the teacher's not going to write a long, false statement. So y'all keep that in mind when you take the test. What number was that? That's number
13.
13. All right, keep that in mind. If you have a true and false test, if they're still giving them, they're not gonna write a long false statement. 14, the Harlem Renaissance was a celebration of black culture, musicians, painters, dancers, etc.
True.
True. Dr. Mary McCall Bethune started her college for girls with $100, which is now Bethune College in Daytona Beach, Florida. 100?
I said true. I don't know how much it is.
It's false.
Oh, okay.
$1.50.
$1.
$1.
So the amount made it false. I knew
Yeah,
the
the
other
amount,
one.
yeah. That was 15.
Yes. This is good.
16, on May 4th, 1961, a group of 13 civil rights activists began the Freedom Rides, departing for Washington, D.C. You already know whether it's true or false. And attempt to integrate facilities at bus terminals along the way to the south.
True.
That's true. Whites and blacks. Whites and blacks. And let me say this, let me do 17 too. These activists all wrote their wills and said goodbye to their loved ones before departing for Washington, D.C.
True.
That's true, because they knew they probably wouldn't live. See, they got on, see the buses, the interstate buses, Greyhound, and it was Trailways and Greyhound at that time. You know, they were segregated, whites in the front, blacks in the back. So they decided they were gonna ride down to the southern states, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Louisiana, and they were gonna sit all over the bus, blacks and whites. Some horrible things happened to those people. Horrible. So y'all look up the Freedom Rides. All right. 18. All civil rights activists were black.
False.
19. President John F. Kennedy signed the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which outlaws discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, and national origin. True or false?
True.
That's false. Why is it false?
President B. Johnson signed it.
Huh?
President Johnson signed it.
Vice President.
President Lyndon B. Johnson signed it.
Lyndon B. Johnson signed it. Why didn't Kennedy sign it?
He was assassinated.
He had been assassinated in August, in November of 1963. A couple months after the March on Washington. March on Washington was in August of 1963. And they knew that he was gonna sign that deal. They said, you won't sign that deal in your lifetime. And they assassinated him in November of 1963. So his vice president, Johnson, who became president, signed. 20, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is called the father of Black history.
False.
False. Who is the father of Black history?
Carter
Carter G. Woodson. Very good. All right, the last two. The Supreme Court back. Supreme Court case, Plessy versus Ferguson in 1896, made it lawful, legal, to have separate facilities for blacks and whites, which included separate water fountains, separate lunch counters, separate schools.
True.
That's true. That's the Supreme Court. Just like the Supreme Court when?
Now.
Now, today,
They're reversing so many gains that we had.
Y'all look up the Pleasant versus Ferguson case. You know, I don't wanna take up other people's time. But y'all look that case up. You know, if time is after everybody finishes, I'll talk about it. But it made it legal, so I couldn't attend a white school if I wanted to, until I became a senior. And when I became a senior, it was freedom of choice. It was freedom of choice. Of course, well, let me talk about the next one. Supreme Court case, Brown versus Board of Education, outlawed the separate but equal doctrine, now allowing blacks to attend integrated schools, to integrate schools. That's true, right? But of course, I wasn't, in 1954, I was 2 years old. So guess what? If you have a right, your exercise is still not good for you. They didn't start exercising these rights until around the late 60s, after the Civil Rights Movement.
I think separate was better, honestly. I think separate was better when we educated out.
Most definitely. As a teacher, I agree with you. Integration. If y'all saw the thing I wrote on with Byron Donalds on Facebook, anybody saw that?
I saw it.
You saw it? Y'all go back and look that up. And he gonna say, Dad is home. Talk about Trump.
Wow.
Dad is home. I had to write this is the back of it. So y'all look that up, go back. And what you do is you go to Ken Mitchell, and then you look up where it says Byron Donalds says Dad is home. And when you check that out, then I had a black man from New Orleans who tried to attack me. He said, leave that man alone. You thinking of 100 years ago. That has not ended. They still think the way that they think, and our people need to know. They need to know the truth. Definitely I'm going to talk about what happened 100 years ago. I know I talked to them, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Hopefully, did y'all learn something?
Yes, thank you.
I want to direct y'all to around the room. Please, look around the room. There's education all around this room. There are some books up here about our history. If anybody would like one of these books, y'all can have them. But please pay attention to all the history. All these people that's on this banner. Who knows who this is?
Shirley Chisholm
What did she do?
ran for president.
In 1917.
First black congresswoman.
Point out who else up here? Obama.
Marcia Thurgood. Dr. Mae Jemison.
That's all. She was an activist. Oh, God. Slipped my mind. Oh, you know she was an activist.
Is that Sophie D. Wright?
That's
Is it Sophie D. Wright?
Somebody take a Google screen and find out who these people is.
I forgot.
So we're gonna direct our attention to the Kilgores and friends at this time. All right.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. If I step out, it's just for a second. I had to, take a pain medicine here.
Okay.
Let America be America and
one is free.
Well, America never was America to me. Where dreams belong to you and me.
Not just for some, but all to see.
Yet my dreams have been denied to me. Let it be hope. Let it be the home of hope.
Where people rise instead of fall.
What to me has been pushed down too long. Where justice lifts us up, lifts us like a rope.
And freedom truly comes to all.
Yet justice has been out of reach. But that's not how it's always been.
Not for the poor, not for the weak.
Not for those like me, unheard and unseen. Not for those whose voices dim.
Not for those afraid to speak.
I've spoken, but no one listened to me. I am the worker, tired and worn.
I am the dreamer, lost and torn.
I've lived this land, yet I own so little. I am the one who fights each day.
Yet sees my rights just fade away.
I fight with the rules don't set up in me. The rich grow richer, take and take.
While others struggle, bend and break.
I break and they never see my face. This land was built by hands like mine.
Yet still, we wait for better times.
I wait for when those times ever come. So let America be the place.
Where all can live with love and grace.
A place where I am no longer fearful of. A land that truly keeps its word.
Where every single voice is heard.
Then maybe America will finally be America for me. Okay, so this will be a summary of Langston Hughes' message, as well as his poem, Let America Be America Again, which talks about how America should be a land of freedom and opportunity for everyone, but hasn't always been. He says America was meant to be fair and free, where everyone can face their dreams. But for many people, Black Americans, immigrants, workers, and the poor, America has not lived up to that promise.
The line, America never was America to me, shows how some people have been left out of the American dream.
He reminds us that many people work hard to build this country, but still struggle and don't get the same chances as others.
In the end, he does give up hope. He calls on people to stand up and make America truly fair for everyone.
His message is quite simple. America should be a place where everyone, no matter who they are, has a real chance to succeed.
Thank you.
Good job, ladies.
Okay, so before we move on to our other two speakers, we're gonna play the suspect challenge. Y'all been seeing the suspect challenge? No? All right, so it's gonna be a Black History twist now.
We're about to play the suspect challenge. I'll describe a historical figure or event, and you'll have to guess who or what I'm talking about. Listen closely to the clues. Suspect, founded Southern University Law Center to provide education to Black students.
Hey, look, the first person who hollers gonna win, okay? Keep going.
Is one of the most influential figures in Black
Yeah, it has to be right.
and Louisiana. He became the president of the university that would later become one of the largest HBCUs in the country. Under his leadership, enrollment grew from 47 to over 500, and his son followed in his footsteps to continue his legacy.
Guesses?
Just This person founded Southern University. There you go, Clark.
There you go. Who said it? Who said it?
Mr. Adams, you should have been sick.
We not gonna pay you.
Everybody should know.
Who won the prize?
Raise your hand, Miss Adams.
Y'all ready?
We're ready.
Suspect, my wife Michelle is also a lawyer and advocate. I'm the first.
Michelle Obama.
Barack Obama. Barack Hussein Obama.
I named the vice Obama.
Look, I was stood up. Who was the first to say it? Okay.
Who I said it wrong? Well, he said the white man, this is the white. I'm not gonna have no smile.
Okay. Okay.
Suspect, I became the first African American to play Major League Baseball in 1947.
Who is Jackie Robinson?
Jackie Robinson.
Suspect, I'm one of the great jazz musicians in New Orleans.
Louis Armstrong. Okay.
Suspect, first rapper to win the. Oh,
Kendrick Lamar.
Kendrick Lamar. He's the first rapper to win a Pulitzer Prize.
Suspect became the first black woman elected to Congress in 1960.
Shirley Chisholm.
Who said it?
Okay.
That's it?
That's all great.
Suspect, first black woman to headline Coachella, delivering an iconic performance celebrating black culture. Has won more.
Coachella. Did Beyonce? Come get your prize.
She got her right now. Go get your prize. She got
I wouldn't have
You got another one? You have another one? Come on.
Suspect holds the record for the most world championship medals in gymnastics. Introduce multiple medals.
Simone Biles.
I don't know the president, but Simone Biles. That's right, Mo?
Yeah.
I said it first, but she got one back.
Yes.
Suspects. My murder in 1955 in Mississippi helped galvanize the civil rights movement. My mother insisted on
Emmett Till.
Emmett Till, they got it.
suspect. At 6 years old, I made history by being the first black child to integrate.
Rupert Bridges.
Come get your prize, man.
Suspect. I invented the super soaker water gun. I'm also a NASA engineer who worked on spacecraft.
Is it Dr. May? No, work on it. It's a guy.
Super soaker. Anybody know?
I see.
Super soaker.
They invented the super soaker. All right, so that was Mario Johnson.
Now Johnson.
I'm best known for my role in the American Civil Rights Movement. I led the March on Washington in 1960.
Dr. Martin King Jr.
Who said that?
Dr. King. Dr. King. Right there.
Suspect is the one he just said. I'm best known for my role in the American Civil Rights Movement. I led the March on Washington in 1963. I was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize.
Okay, yes.
All right.
Suspect. I created over 300 products from peanuts.
There you
Who
go.
said that one?
I got one.
You got
I
one?
take it.
You said the back.
Okay, go.
Suspect. I was the first African American woman in space.
May Jemison. May Jemison.
All right, then.
I know it's so. Look, I knew that. I knew that. Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Suspect. I'm often viewed as the modern day civil rights movement. I refuse to give up my seat on a bus.
Y'all need everything back then.
All right, I got one down. I'm the lead singer of a gospel quartet inducted in the Rhythm of Gospel Living Legends Hall of Fame. I pastor 2 churches.
Tell the fair
Pastor
right.
Bear Right, Junior.
All right, I thought that was a very fun way of getting some more history. All right, so, Reverend Pitcher, the floor is yours.
Shout out to see my friend here, still putting out that knowledge. Give him a hand. He's been around a long time. And when you're doing this business, you don't get a lot of notoriety. You don't get a lot of accolades. The only real accolades you get are the ones that we get when we know that we're doing what God wants us to do. Amen.
Amen.
I'm truly happy to be here. I hope and pray that if this is not your first, that you will continue to have more. This is what we need right here. It may not seem like a lot. I've been around a while. I'm 71 years old. I know I don't look it. I'm 71 years old, blessed by God. And I didn't start out where I am now. There were a lot of rivers to cross, mountains to cross, valleys to dig my way up. I was born in New Orleans, of course. I lived in Baton Rouge. My family moved to Los Angeles when I was 9. So I grew up in the Jordan Housing Projects in South Central Los Angeles. That's where I learned who I was and what the world was all about. I did a lot of things that most ghetto dwellers do. I robbed, I stole, I used drugs, sold drugs, gangbanger. Was lucky enough that a man by the name of Louis Lomax visited our neighborhood. Most of us in the projects at that time had never left out of the community. We just didn't. This man, black man, got money from somewhere, I don't know where he got it from, but he rented school buses and he picked up anybody who wanted to go throughout South Central Los Angeles. It was the summertime. And my brother and I decided we wanted to go. And for the first time in our lives, we saw things outside of the ghetto. Saw big houses, fine houses. We even saw the beach, the ocean. We went to Hollywood. We saw things that we had never seen before, and that generated in me a desire to do something and be something better than I was, because there was life. How you doing, Doc? To give me an opportunity to do something and see things that I'd never seen before. And it inspired me to try to do more. Was not a good student, but I was a darn good athlete. And I earned a scholarship, football scholarship. That was my way out of the ghetto. But one thing my coaches did not tell me, they used to tell me all the time, study your plays, stay in shape, you know. But they never told me about going to class, getting good grades. One day you'll be something. So at the end of my 4 years, unfortunately, I was still a sophomore academically. I was a senior athletically, but I was a sophomore academically. Because I majored in dominoology, smoking weed, hanging out. So when it came my time, I got my scholarship was up, the coach said, well, Pitch, we enjoyed having you, man. You had a good career. But after this semester, we can't pay your tuition. Okay. Needless to say, I wound up back in the ghetto, where I started from. No degree, no job skills, no nothing. So I started doing the things that I knew how to do. Steal, rob, sell, use drugs. But one day something happened to me. Some of you born again believers know what I'm talking about. God stepped in.
All right. All right.
And I didn't even realize that I had forgotten. I was part of a cult in college. We went to California State University of Los Angeles. I was part of a cult. Didn't know it was a cult then. We thought it was just a black thing. You know, we were black, doing the black thing. It was a cult called the Temple of Nomathembo. We worshiped the Egyptian sun god Amun-Ra. And on Easter Sunday in 1972, we put Jesus Christ on trial. I happened to be the prosecuting attorney. And I did my research, and I found I charged Jesus with everything that ever happened to black folk. Murder, rape, robbery, slavery, everything. And found him guilty and crucified him again. So to show you how warped I was. So I'm riding down, I had just got in my little car, I'm riding down the ocean, I like to go there late at night just to think. And I heard a voice. Some people say, well, you just thought. No, I heard a voice like I'm talking to you now. And that voice told me, said, Reggie, with the same energy that you use to persecute me, You went to the library, you got all of that information to persecute me. You're going to use that same information and that same energy to uplift me and defend me and to preach for me and to proclaim me and to win souls for me. I thought I had lost my mind. I thought I was losing it. Church had never been on my mind, ever on my mind. Even though my grandfather was a prominent minister here in Baton Rouge, church was never on my mind. But I found myself gravitating to church, studying the Word, trying to find out what this calling was all about. Some of my buddies that I sold drugs with and robbed, do strong arm robbery with, came by the house. They thought that I had lost my mind, and they were coming by just to see if I had in fact lost my mind. But I hadn't. So eventually, I decided to come back here and study the ministry under my grandfather. Some of you might remember my grandfather, W.M. Pitcher. I know you do, Doc. Study under him. And as I progressed in ministry, there were some things going on in Baton Rouge that just didn't set too well with me. And me having a militant background, naturally my antennas began to go up and I began to get angry. During that time, there was rampant police brutality. During that time, we had several black young men killed. One of them was a young lady killed by the police and nothing was happening. So I took it upon myself, just to let you young people know, you don't have to have a crowd of people to stand up for what's right.
Right.
You don't have to have a crowd. So I took it upon myself to challenge the East Baton Rouge Parish Police Department, the East Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff Department, because one of the young men was by the name of Patrick Esco. Look it up. Google it, Patrick Esco. He was killed by the East Baton Rouge Parish, the city police. Okay, now when he was killed, they say he had a fake gun or a plastic plate toy gun. Okay, they said, he said to the police officer, "I will kill you." That's what they said. Come to find out, I knew the young man. He was one of my clients. I'm a social worker by trade as well. Did 30 years social work. But he was one of my clients. He was nonverbal. He couldn't talk. So how did the police officer say he told me that he was going to kill me, pointed a gun at me, so I shot it? That was a lie. Okay? Another instance, young man by the name of Chauncey Thomas, look it up, 91, 92, saw the police coming and ran into a vacant house. The sheriff department ran into a vacant house. Police officer ran in after him. Next thing you knew, there was some gunshots. Young 17-year-old kid laying dead on the floor. No weapon. They say they found a screwdriver, but no weapon. A few weeks after that, a young man sitting in his car. Police pulled him over. I'm talking about right here in Baton Rouge. I'm not talking about anywhere else. I'm talking about Baton Rouge. Pulled the young man over. His last name was Green. Look it up. Last name was Green, sitting in his car. The police officer asked him for his ID, registration, and insurance. He reached over to get it. Boom, they shot him and killed him while he was sitting in the car. Okay. Now, mind you, all of these police officers were acquitted. All of them. One of them was indicted by the grand jury. The other two were not. No charges brought against them. Said, "Oh no," and I'm excuse my French. Oh hell no. We have to do something about this. So we organized an organization at that time. We called it the Coalition for Black Unity. Some of you might remember if you were around. Coalition for Black Unity. we were demanding that things change with the police department. So we marched, we protested, we shut streets, right here in Baton Rouge in the 90s. See, some of y'all probably don't know nothing about that, and probably didn't know who Reverend Pitcher is, but they knew who I was then. And they tried to shut out any other further information of what I was doing. But we marched, we protested, we demonstrated, we did everything that we could possibly do. Okay? Now, some of my young people today feel like marching and boycotting and protesting, oh, that's just a waste of time. If you say it's a waste of time, you don't know your history. We have always marched. We've always protested. We've always boycotted. But what you don't understand, and young people today do not understand, is that boycotting, marching, and protesting was not an end. It was a means to an end. It was a way of getting and bringing attention to the problem and soliciting support. That's what boycotting and protesting and demonstrating is. So we did that. Didn't bring about any major changes, but we took down, they were using black silhouettes at the police academy to train their police officers how to shoot. So, and subliminally, you shoot a black man because the silhouette is black. Put that down. We froze the rotating shift of the police officers. Every week they would be in a different area. Said, no, we want you to be able to stay in a district long enough to know the criminals from the law-abiding citizens. You walk into the neighborhood, everybody's a criminal to you, and that's not right. So we changed that. And they were more stationary, so they got a chance to familiarize themselves with the good people who live there as opposed to the troublemakers. Small, but large.
Yeah.
Okay. So we did that. We were successful with that. We challenged that. The police killings went down almost to zero in Baton Rouge because a few of us had the courage to stand up and challenge the system and demand that they treat us and give us the respect that we deserve. Okay? Didn't take a whole lot of people because most of the black people at that time did not know their rights. A lot of the black people today don't know their rights.
Right.
You have to be educated and re-educated, not on A's and B's and C's and reading and writing and arithmetic. You gotta know your rights.
Right.
Because if you don't know your rights, when your rights are violated, you don't even know. So you think that he's supposed to come and stop your car when he get ready, and you're supposed to let him search you? No, you don't. You're supposed to open up your door and let him in when he knocks on the door. No, you don't. But if you don't know that, they will turn around and use your ignorance of the law against you.
Yeah.
So we set up satellites where we were teaching black folk their rights. Of course, they didn't like that. Another instance that we worked on, and a lot of people didn't know this. At one time, they were flying the Confederate battle flag at the governmental building and also at the federal courthouse. Okay? A few of us got together, challenged them on it. But see, this is the key. This is what I'm telling, particularly our young people. Before we did anything in challenging the system, we did our research. We did our research. We went to the library. We studied the history of the Confederate battle flag. Their argument was, we're only showing a display of all the flags that flew over the state of Louisiana. Sounds good, doesn't it? Sounds nothing wrong with that. However, The history says that that flag never flew over the state of Louisiana, ever. That flag flew on the battlefield. These stars and bars flew over the state capitol. Oh, so when we walk in fully armed with information, with truth. So when you attack them with truth, they cannot deny the truth. Only thing that will deny the truth is a lie. And a lie can't, live forever. So they quietly removed the Confederate flag from the department, from the governmental building, and quietly removed it from the federal courthouse. So when the reporters say, well, we understand that you removed the battle flag. Yeah, the picture didn't have anything to do with that. Yeah, we just did it because we found out it was the right thing to do. And no, they didn't think he had an army. Okay, yeah. You don't have to give me the credit. Just take it down. So they took it down. Fine. We were the only city in the South that had the Confederate battle flag taken down without a fight because we had the information. So what I'm saying to you, and I've never, ever, in all the things I've done, marching, protesting, demonstrating, all the things I've done, I've never had a problem. Always use what they use on us. Optical illusions. Smoke and mirrors. Doc, I had to think I had the city behind me. They thought I did. I only had about 100 people backing me up. But they didn't know that. And I wasn't going to tell them. So have them believing and thinking what they want to believe and think and what I want them to believe and think the same way they do us. I flipped the script. They want us to think that they're more powerful than they really are. I wanted them to think that I was more powerful than I really was. They want us to believe lies and deceit. I convinced them to believe lies and deceit. But the bottom line is this. Frederick Douglass put it this way. He said, the oppressors will never give up their oppression until the oppressed demand that they do. Another thing, this is my motto. Everything, now sit down, everything that we work for, we bled and died and suffered for that you enjoy, you're going to have to fight to keep it. We fought to get it, you're going to have to fight to keep it. Because they're trying to take it back every day. And if you don't stand up for the rights that you are, we're not talking about fighting for rights down the road. We're talking about fighting for the rights that we have now. If you don't fight to keep the rights you have now, you're going to be pushed back 50 years and you're not going to be able to get out of it for another 50 years. Now I teach right now, I'm telling you what, I'm going to sit down. I was a social worker for almost 30 years. I did child protection. I worked in juvenile facilities with young men over the last 30 years. Retired, thought I was done. And again, I heard that voice again, Doc. Gotta do something else, go to the classrooms. You open up a door for me. I'm teaching at Jefferson Terrace Middle School. I'm teaching 7th and 8th graders. I teach our story, not his story. I teach our story. All right. The way I do it, Doc, they give us a curriculum, right? Right. Okay. The curriculum says that you have to teach, just say, the Great Migration, 1870, okay? So when I do my research on the Great Migration, I want to find out what black folk was doing then. And that's what I teach. when they talk about the Reconstruction, teach the Reconstruction. But I want to find out what black folk was doing during Reconstruction. See, because we were there. They may shut us out of their history books, but we were there. Everything that has been done since when did we get it? 1619 slave? 1619. Everything that we have been doing since 1619 in this country, black folk were there. So if I'm going to teach your history, I'm going to do research and I'm going to teach my history, what was going on with you in your history books. I want to know what we were doing at the same time. And I want to tell our children what we were doing at the same time. When you were talking about the Industrial Revolution, I'm talking about the cotton industry that spawned the Industrial Revolution. Without the cotton pickers, it wouldn't have been an Industrial Revolution. Can somebody talk back to me? We did that. We did that. Uncompensated labor for over 250 years. We created more white millionaires during that time than anybody in the history of this country. We did that. But they don't want you to know that. Some people say, well, why they hate us so? The reason they hate you so is because of a lot of these white men. I wish you would go back and study how these suckers used to live back then. They live like kings and queens of our labor. They're not mad because they hate black folk. They're mad because black folk took their labor back and you went from being a millionaire to a poor white person. That's why they hate you. Okay? They hate you because mankind realized that you were not 1/5 of a man. Realized that you did have a brain, that you could think, that you could progress, that you were able to use critical thinking. When they realized that, then they realized these Negroes, I ain't gonna say what I used to say, these niggas, have completely lost their minds. They're even voting. As I close, let me say, I gotta add this down. We are right now living in what I call the second post-Reconstruction period.
That's right.
You gotta go back and read the Reconstruction period. How many of you know Lincoln got killed 5 days after the war ended? 5 days. He didn't have a chance to do anything. 5 days after the war ended, they killed him. Okay? So, when his lackey, Johnson, took over, he undid everything that Lincoln had proposed to do during Reconstruction. Okay? So the Reconstruction lasted maybe 5 years, thanks to the Freedmen's Bureau. But after those 5 years, when he withdrew the federal troops, everything went haywire. Before he withdrew the federal troops, we had people in Congress. We had state legislators. We had senators. We had people on the House of Representatives in Washington. So we even had PBS Pitchback. Some of y'all remember him? Right here. Okay, but when post-Reconstruction set in, all the things that we worked for, all the things that we had earned, all the things that we got through blood, sweat, and tears, took it. And it has taken us another 200 years to even get some of those things back. So what do you think Trump is doing right now? Same thing. What do you think black folk are doing right now?
Being amused.
Partying and have a good time. Let the party begin. We can, my Super Bowl team won. That's what they want you to do.
Waiting on stimulus check.
Waiting on that free money. While you partying, they planning. While you partying, they plotting. While you partying, they figuring out ways to take what you already have. Don't let them do it. Don't let them do we initiated throughout this nation, as of yesterday, an economic boycott. I rode around just to see. I almost went in the store myself. So I thought about it, I mean, I had it. I'm gonna stop by Walmart on the way home and pick up some catfish or something I wanted to cook last night. And I got out the truck and said, oh Lord have mercy. I hurried up and got back in because I didn't want anybody to see me out there. But it's real, y'all. It's real. What's going on and what you see today is real. Don't for one minute think that it don't affect you. Every time you go to the grocery store, it affects you. Every time you get a gallon of gas, it affects you. Every time you look at your health bill, it affects you. It affects you. When the mayor talking about taking money away from the library, giving it to the police, it affects you.
Yes.
It affects you. So now is the time for us to stand up, be heard, continue to fight. The fight is not over. I don't care how good you live, where you live, how good you drive, where you drive, what you wear, your clothes, that does not matter. I told my children the other day, half of you not going to be able to go to college. And say why? Because you're not going to be able to afford it. Yeah. They're cutting out the money. Yeah. So if you don't have grants and aids, how are you going to get to college? That's the plan, y'all. Less of y'all going to college, less of y'all competing with them.
Right.
And their children.
Right.
That's right.
Think. Use what God gave you. Think. Stay. What do my folks say? Stay woke. Boy, they hate that word. They hate that word. And I'm going to say it everywhere I go. Stay woke. Stay woke. Stay woke. Stay woke. God bless you. Thank you for inviting me. God bless you. God bless you.
Very good. Joyce.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, all right. How y'all doing? Good. All right. Man, give her a picture. I tell you, some of the first times I actually got in the street with activism was with him. All right, like for real, the thing he's saying, I mean, he was actually like one of the first people I saw actually just get in the street and march through neighborhoods, whether it was with or without a crowd, right? Because like we're talking about with the Super Bowl, you had so many people that gravitate towards that big audience, right? Or that whatever the popular opinion is, that entertainment. But when it comes to the empowerment part, us learning something, then it's like, nah, we don't really have time for that. You can take a whole community and give them, you can say a stimulus issue, a stimulus check is the issue, give all those $5,000. But if you give that same brain $5,000, what's going to happen? Y'all tell me what's going to happen?
Don't give it back.
They're going to go buy some more rims, or, go buy the new outfit. They're going to take $5,000, buy a $3,500 purse. Those type of things. But it's the empowerment, it's the education part that we need so much. And the influence, it aggravates me, y'all. Like when I was talking about the music earlier, and I'm somewhat of a rap revolutionary, right? Or gospel rap revolutionary. Because I know the power of music. And sometimes we could be in spaces and we just not saying 1 + 1 = 2 when we are promoting positive causes in our city, but then we fuel those causes with music that's not positive. Mm-hmm. All right? We could have city government events here and have the biggest stage in the city that we paid for city money, and then we could get people that have vulgar content and degrading women and talking about using drugs the very same things we talking against, so-called have programming against, we promoting these with money that come out of your tax dollars. This ain't hard to find. All right, it's not hard to see. I just don't understand why more people don't see it.
Right.
It's somewhat of an easy fix. We just have to be conscious of what we're doing, and then you have to just sit and question, like, what side are we really on? Who are we really, who are we really fighting for? Are we really fighting, or are we just positioned as if we fight? Right? This is really inspiring to me, actually. I came in to give y'all whatever the Lord gave me. God gave me a whole lot more. I was sitting there having the time on just going back through some notes of some things that I wanted to do. This vision God gave me a few months ago, and I was just reframing it and writing it again, because I learned through repetition. I guess that's the thing about artists. So, artists and ministers, that you write things and then you go back and then you remember it better. So I'll almost every other day I'll go back and write something again. So I encourage you all, especially the youth that are in here, if you're trying to accomplish something, don't think that you heard it one day or your parents told you one day and you're supposed to know it. No, go back and as you start your week next week, write your chores again that you're supposed to do. Write that school that you want to attend. Write it again on your notebook. Get a picture of it and put somewhere. I have a book at home, and when you open that book up, I couldn't find any glue or any tape, so I just stapled it to the front of my notebook. And in the inside of that notebook, there's a photo of things that I want to accomplish. Some of those things that I've already accomplished them, already started accomplishing them, just subconsciously by focusing on that every day. That makes sense to y'all? Yes. Like our word. Sometimes we go to church, we ain't trying to really hear. We're not tapped in that day to what Pastor's saying. Because I got some other stuff going on. I want to go to work. These kids tripping. I'm hungry. Stuff happening. But subconsciously, by you listening to that word every day, you are learning. That's what you was alluding to about the total recall. Like, so subconsciously, you get that word just by being present. So imagine the messages that your kids or that the community get just by the lyrical influences that are present. All right? We want to know Black history that we teach them once a year. We go hard about it maybe 1 week out that 1 month in that year. The shortest month of the year. Yeah. And we want to know why they don't understand it for us, why they ain't getting it. Because we spend all other time indoctrinating them with other things. And then not being the proper stewards of their ear and eye gates when it comes to stuff that the school or the city or whomever deems necessary for them to see to gather. And it gives to me it's a personal thing. So I'm gonna get into this. But I was talking about the music earlier. I had to really research that myself and see about just the impact of music, that what it has on us as a culture. Like the songs, like Swing Low, Sweet Cherry. Like these things are, a song that came from our ancestors, and it was communicating a message. And life never changed. The communication of music never changed. They're still communicating a message, whether we picking it up or not. If you see the culture change in the streets about what the kids are either saying or what they're wearing, and not just kids, because you got people that's following hip hop culture now that's 45 to 55. It ain't just the kids no more. Can I get an amen? Do y'all understand? Amen. At 45 to 55, they're still listening to this music, being inspired by it, and what it's the same type of application. They put it into the music, they hear it so much, subconsciously you retain it, and then you start acting it out in your day-to-day life. That's right. In what you wear, in what you say, and where you go, and what you drive, and the TV knows it so much to where they'll put certain things, they put music behind certain things they want to give you in life. And it's just a big thing. It's no secret to why President Obama, when he got elected, as we say, our first Black African American president, that he had people like Jay-Z and others that will play key components of his campaign strategy, because he knows the power of music in the world. You look at the White House. Did y'all see how Trump had all these black entertainers and people that are like icons in the hip hop industry that were at the White House? Why did they need to be there? Because they carry the influence that it needs to get the message out. You can't find anything that's being moved, anything that's being sold, anything that's being done that doesn't have some stamp, some imprint of culture or music that's in it. The last thing I'll say about that, the power of music, is that I was researching just as I started doing Christian rap music and going down this tunnel of why church people didn't understand me, right? And when I say church people, just meaning people in churches that I went to, because I'm a church person too. I'm a minister. I'm a minister. I'm an evangelist. I'm at church every Sunday. I'm gonna be there tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. I'm probably ain't gonna leave about 1 o'clock, right? But when people didn't understand, I was like, I had to just go back in time and see that it's a revolution. It's an evolution of music as time goes. With the Mahalia Jacksons and the Kirk Franklins and all this, the Mary Marys and all these different people. And it was like a psychology, the strategy behind that. Even the first person who made a gospel song, coined the gospel song, I think his name was Thomas Dorsey.
Yeah.
The song that he made was, he was a blues singer out on the road. And his child died. His wife was pregnant with his child. The child died, and I think the mom died as well. And then that's where that song, Precious Lord, came from. A blues singer made the song that coined gospel music. And we would, think that it was a different thing. But that was when I saw the beginning, then I understood more so my purpose of going into settings. And then my assignment, my job, getting people to understand what I did. And some of the people that didn't understand it just may not need to necessarily, right? But even when we think about someone like Hitler, that was a ruler, that was a whatever type of dictator that he was. When he would do speeches back then, he had speakers that dealt with a certain sound wave that would make you nauseous, make your stomach hurt. And he would have this going through the crowd. And then when he stood up, they would cut the speakers off. And the pain went away. The nausea went away. And you felt better. And that dealt with the psychology of them receiving such a leader. But it was music. It was sound waves. It was some of the same things that we may not understand so much that has an impact on us. And some people have taken the time in this world to master this stuff. To the point to where they know how to control you with it. They know how to move you with it, influence you with it. And so when I was talking about stuff earlier, there's no slight to worship leaders and folks, but the truth is that there's a lot of things, a lot of music, soulful music that's manufactured through time and represented to you, and you understand it, you feel it, but you don't feel it as much because it has a revelation in it, or it's so divine. Nah, it's touching your soul, somewhere where your soul been touched before. It has that feeling that makes you feel a certain type of way. And it's not saying all this stuff is things that are sending you to hell, but it's things that are helping us to understand why the world works the way it does and the devices that it uses. Right? And how we can use these devices ourselves to empower our youth, to just reach people more better. I mean, I don't think I would have even learned my ABCs had it not been for a song.
Right.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. I was saying what L-M-N-P or something like that. I wasn't even saying I had to fill it in with real letters later.
Me too.
Right. From the beginning, music was teaching me. And y'all think it's still teaching you?
It is.
It is. And we can tap into that, man. I'm telling you, we can take some of our power back. We can take it back. So that's a part of my assignment. Like I preach more, I guess, as ministerially as a traditional speaker these days. But God told me a couple years ago. He said, "Don't abandon the gift." That's right. And that it will still be needed and used in times such as this. And so I wrote a song, and the name of the song is called "Do Something." All right. Because when I think about times such as this, with Black History Month, just when things happen in general, it's like, how many of y'all been to a meeting before? A community meeting? All right? How many of y'all have been to a church meeting before? Sunday morning meeting. All these are meetings about change. Whether you changing something in the community, changing something in your family, changing something in the world, changing something in yourself, all these are meetings about change. But do any of these meetings make you want to do something?
That's the question.
Because that's the move, for us to do something. All right, so I say do something.
Do something.
Okay. But this time we're going to say do something like you really going to do something. You know, because when you really are inspired to move, to do something, you speak a different way.
Yes.
Y'all know you can tell how much somebody means something by the way they say it.
Yes.
If you say, girl, leave me alone.
Yes.
The girl ain't really going to leave you alone. She probably don't even think you really serious about her leaving you alone. And then you're like, girl, leave me alone. She ain't really done with you yet because she know you ain't real serious. When you say, leave me alone, you ain't, look, they put up the finger. Okay, all right. I'm gone because you, undoubtedly, you serious. You want to be left alone. So say that with me. Say, do something.
Do something.
Yeah, that's the type of energy I'm talking about. You know, we got all these people behind us, and they wouldn't be behind us if they didn't what?
Do something.
Exactly. So that's what this what I want to share with you. This is how it goes. And when I point to you, I want you to do it just like that. When I point to you, say,
Do something.
That's it. We're going to practice one more time.
Do something.
All right, yeah, it's going to work right here. And I'm going to use, I have been recording this on purpose. Actually, I want you to do this. Hit that stop button for recording. Hit it and then hit it again to start fresh, all right? Because I do this intentionally because I know we have to shift the culture, all right? I know that when we have whatever concerts we have in the city, you're going to have 300 phones, 3,000 phones, and they're going to record it. It's going to go on Instagram, it's going to go on Facebook, it's going to go everywhere. You're going to see it. But how many people are recording the things we need to shift the culture?
Right.
So, you know, it makes me more conscious of being a good student of words that come out of my mouth. But sometimes I can be goofy and be playing and laughing and stuff. But I want people to capture this because somebody needs to see it because some of the things we shift are going to be by this power of music. So it goes, reading, writing, arithmetic, grading tools of a rubric. These assignments are serious. Keep laughing, see where that humor get. I heard there was a rumor hit that Jesus ain't real. Well, I'm a kid cut from the cloth to show you Jesus is here. See, it may be heathens in here, but ain't no reason to fear. You just be getting by like this is your season to live. The thing is, whoever said, yeah, act like I'm reaching you when I'm saying something. Don't look at me like we're in the museum. Talk back to me. Somebody say, talk back.
Talk back.
All right, I'm going to start that off again then. You know, I said I give you permission to talk back. Reading, writing, arithmetic, grading tools of a rubric. These assignments is serious. Keep laughing, see where that humor get. I heard there was a rumor hit that Jesus ain't real. Well, I'm a kid cut from the cloth to show you Jesus is here.
Yeah.
It may be heathens in here, but ain't no reason to fear. You just been getting by like this is your season to live.
Yes.
Yeah. Like a baby with a beard, wipe your mouth off. You thought that you was fighting the battle right, but Satan is southpaw. He don't know nothing about y'all. Adjust your strategy. Switch up your ground game. Get rid of the gravity. We fight from the heavens.
Yes.
Bind that and loose something. When you use your power, it get nasty, it get gruesome. Now, see, people that be using power, they be like, when I say that part right there. You know what? I say, when you use your power, it get nasty, it get gruesome. Had a couple of haters sent by hell that wanted to do something, but I got intercessors that been in prayer about We fight from the heavens and bind that and loose something. When you use your power, it get nasty, it get gruesome. Look, devil, we can do something. Really, we can do something. This is what I found out. Whether you fight the devil or not, he gonna fight you.
Yes.
So it's a kid at school that don't want to fight, they get picked on.
That's it.
But the one who stands flat-footed and say, man, if you want to do something, I'm here. You understand? They're just a little bit less, probable to mess with that person, right? So when I figure this out in life, I just say, you know what? I see what you want to do, so do something.
Do something.
Do something. So, devil, you can do something. Really, you can do something. I'm on assignment. I've been binding. I'm gonna do something. Devil, you can
Do something.
do something. Devil, you can
Do something.
do something. Devil, you can
Do something.
do something. I'm on assignment. I've been binding. I'm gonna lose something. Look. I'm still aggravated by that last thing that you pulled. So much deception had to separate the sheep from the wolves. You've been breaking all the rules, so I'm going to stand on mine. I'm attacking every time you put your hand on mine. This is a war song. Can't play no games with fallen angels because we are grown. All my grace for the enemy is far gone. But I dwell with my brothers, lift you up in prayer. When you expose, I show you cover. Keep the G with me. You don't have to shoot marbles or run the streets with me. See, I ain't asked you to party or go and eat with me. But let's sit and talk to the Father before you beef with me, especially if we Christians. This is a war song. I heard a lot of you can't get right if you start wrong. So many people giving up, it's like their heart gone. Look, you left that church, but let me still make this point known. Don't leave the Lord alone. Devil, because this is, y'all, and I say that part, don't talk about it for this reason. Sometimes we have people, they get mad, they do this, they do that, they get mad at you, and they leave the Lord. And I said, don't do that. You might be mad with me, but God's still good every day. So devil, you can do something. Really, you can do something. I'm on assignment. I've been binding. I'm going to lose something. Devil, you can do something.
Do something.
Say it with an attitude. Devil, you can do something.
Do something.
Put your hands on it. Devil, you can do something.
Do something.
I'm on assignment. I've been binding. I'm going to lose something. Y'all give the Lord some praise. We bind and we loose and we use the keys of the kingdom. Amen?
Amen.
These are the keys that Jesus Christ gave you to change some things in your life, to shift some atmosphere, binding and loosing. So, what y'all think about that? Y'all think that's cool? That's all?
Yes.
All right? And it's something that is on my Facebook, on my Instagram. I'll give you some information. Actually, my social media, if you go there, you can go to the website. The website is called FightSongs.com. FightSongs with Z. F-I-G-H-T, songs, SONGZ.com. And if you go to the links there, Facebook, Instagram, they take you directly to those videos, and you can, you can get on there, listen to it, put a comment. I ask you to comment, share with someone that needs to hear something like that, because we have worship songs, we have our fight songs, but we fight in the spirit. But how many of y'all know all these fights ain't gonna be sitting down on your knees? You know, you're gonna have to go to somebody's school. You're gonna have to be in the red light. You're gonna be in Walmart. And you're going to really have to just have in your mind and your spirit that devil, you can do something. All right? And I ain't going to punch you, but I am going to bind that spirit. You know? I am going to lose something. I'm going to lose some joy. I'm going to lose some peace in my community. I'm going to lose some peace in my street. I'm going to lose some peace in my house. Amen? Amen. All right? So and also, it's when it comes to history, it's no mistake. We can talk about the things that Jesus Christ has done in our lives, things he's doing, things he's equipped us to do, but we still have a history that's real. Things like Mr. Mitchell talked about that's happened, that we still have to work and use our keys to the kingdom to bind and loose some things in those areas. All right? Because there's some people that have told you that you can't possess certain things, you can't have certain things based on the position that you was put in the past, ancestrally, right? So, how does it go? I'm going to take a look quick. Look. I'm talking transatlantic slave trade, blood on the Ivory Coast. These are too dirty, way too dirty to clean with ivory soap. Martin and Malcolm, Marcus Garvey enlightened folks. The dream is still alive inside. So I say I'm the hope. Yeah. History. You don't know my history. See, I had to be meek to get meals. I wore 2 chains in the field. First to define the word grind, I must be tougher than steel. Because I've been beat 400 years and I still maintain my will. You know my history. I'm black African American, but when I reflect my motherland, you look at me like I'm Farrakhan. History. I'm supposed to be able to bear arms, but my pigmentation bring intimidation to the officers, the scared ones. History. December 1965 gave me the right to vote, but that bloody Southern emancipation, that proclamation Abe Lincoln wrote. in the water now, so I'm gonna sink or float. They don't like the truth, they gonna delete the quote, but I'm gonna stand tall, gotta let them know just the burden God gave me to tell my history.
Right?
$120 billion in 1937 for Americans to get home loans, long as Americans wasn't average.
All right.
2%, that's next to nothing. I'm gonna keep it clean. For 30-something. Work hard to stay where the weather's sunny, but they vacation on old money. Burn the town down from the head to the feet. You ain't seen the case, you got a glimpse of that Black Wall Street. Keep talking, black-owned homes, businesses, places to eat. Keep talking, riots and looted and killed the black community. See, we was made to hustle, made to grind, made to overcome struggle. Put me beneath you, but America was built on my muscles.
Yes.
Mass incarceration, blacks across the nation. Lost my patience after this observation. Should I stop or stir up altercations? Blame it all on Satan. See the preacher you picked out at the altar waiting. Pray, repent, and go back to a system with one ultimatum. We gotta think, we gotta live, we gotta love, we gotta prosper. After we think, we gotta move, and we gotta realize the obvious. See, I woke up with one strike, but my household ain't a hospice. I ain't walking dead, I ain't comfortable. I gotta aim at the impossible. You can be whoever you wanna be. It ain't nobody that can stop you.
That's right.
But you gotta work harder than the best man just to be the next man on the roster. My history. Thank you, Richard. Thank y'all for your time. I guess they don't drop the mic right there, y'all.
Drop the mic.
Quickly, drop the mic, drop the camera.
All right, so thank everybody who came out. I want to thank our speakers. They did an amazing